Book 22, Death at the Palace. The climax of the story is here. Odysseus is ready to claim his rightful kingdom, but first he must deal with more than 100 young and hostile suitors. The first one he turns to is Antinous. Antinous has been, all through the story, the meanest of the suitors and their ringleader. He had hit Odysseus with a stool when the hero appeared in the hall as a beggar, and he had ridiculed the disguised king by calling him a bleary vagabond, a pest, and a tramp. Now shrugging off his rags, the wiliest of fighters of the islands leapt and stood on the broad door-sill, his own bow in his hand. He poured out at his feet a rain of arrows from the quiver and spoke to the crowd. So much for that. Your clean-cut game is over. Now watch me hit a target that no man has hit before. If I can make this shot, help me, Apollo. He drew to his fist the cruel head of an arrow for Antinous, just as the young man leaned to lift his beautiful drinking cup. Embossed, two-handled, golden, the cup was in his fingers, the wine was even at his lips, and did he dream of death? How could he? In that revelry amid the throng of friends who would imagine a single foe, though a strong foe indeed, could dare bring to death's pain on him and darkness in his eyes? Odysseus's arrow hit him under the chin and punched up to the feathers through his throat. Backwards and down he went, letting the wine cup fall from his shocked hand. Like pipes his nostrils jetted crimson runnels, a river of mortal red, and one last kick upset his table, knocking the bed of meat to soak in dusty blood. Now as they craned to see their champion where he lay, the suitors jostled in uproar down the hall, everyone on his feet. Wildly they turned and scanned the walls and the long room for arms, but did not a shield, not a good ashen spear was there for a man to take and throw. All they could do was yell in outrage at Odysseus. Foul, to shoot at a man, that was your last shot. Your own throat will be slit for this. Our finest lad is down, you killed the best in Ithaca. Buzzards will tear your eyes out. For they imagined as they wished that it was a wild shot, an unintended killing. Fools not to comprehend they were already in the grips of death. But glaring under his brow, Odysseus answered, You yellow dogs, you thought I'd never make it home from the land of Troy. You took my house to plunder, twisted my maids to serve your bed. You dared bid for my wife while I was still alive. Contempt was all you had for the gods who rule wide in heaven. Contempt for what men say of you hereafter. Your last hour has come. You die in blood. As they all took this in, sickly green feel pulled at their entrails and their eyes flickered, looking for some hatch or hideaway from death. Eurymachus alone could speak. He said, If you are Odysseus of Ithaca, come back. All that you say these men have done is true. Rash actions, many here, more in the countryside. But here he lies, the man who cows them all. Antinous was the ringleader. He whipped us on to do these things. He cared less for a marriage than for the power Cronion has denied him as king of Ithaca. For that he tried to trap your son and would have killed him. He is dead now and has his portion. Spare your own people. As for ourselves, we'll make restitution of wine and meat consumed, and add each one a tithe of 20 oxen, with gifts of bronze and gold to warm your heart. Meanwhile, we cannot blame you for your anger. Odysseus glowered under his black brows and said, Not for the whole treasure of your fathers, all you enjoy, lands, flock, or any gold put up by others, would hold my hand. There will be killing till the score is paid. You forced yourselves upon this house. Fight your way out, or run for it if you think you'll escape death. I doubt one of you skims by. Telemachus joins his father in the fight. They are helped by the swineherd and cowherd. Now the suitors, trapped in the hall without weapons, are struck right and left by arrows, and many of them die on the floor. At this moment the unmanning thundercloud, the aegis, Athena's shield, took form aloft in the great hall. And all the suitors, mad with fear at her great sign, stampeded like stung cattle by a river, when the dread, shimmering gladly strikes in summer, in the flowering season in the long-drawn days. After them the attackers wheeled as terrible as eagles from eyries in the mountains, veering over and over and diving down, with talons wide, unsheathed on flights of birds, who cower down the sky and shoots and bursts along the valley. But the fountain eagles grip their prey, no frantic wing avails, and farmers love to watch these beaked hunters. So now these fell upon the suitors in the hall, turning to strike and strike again, while torn men moaned at death and blood ran smoking over the whole floor. Odysseus now calls forth the maids who have betrayed his household by associating with the suitors. He orders them to clean up the house and to dispose of the dead. He then pays them by hanging them in the courtyard. And that ends Book 22 of the Odyssey.